Welcome to Cat's Got Your Tongue. This is the podcast if you are a cat lover. It's in association with the charity Cats Protection. My name's Adam Brown, cat owner, cat enthusiast, cat obsessive, to be honest with you, and also a very proud cat dad of my beautiful calico queen, Cinnamon, who I'm sure we'll mention a little bit more in this episode. Now, in each episode of this podcast, we chat to celebrity guests. We hear all about the cats in their lives and exactly why they love cats, probably just as much as me and you do. So let's get on with it. This is Cat's Got Your Tongue. So each week on Cat's Got Your Tongue, I'm joined by a cat-owning guest to talk about life with their pet, how cats make their lives better, and just kind of get a real sense of how cats impact their life, I suppose. And also, in the process, hopefully learn a little bit more about cats myself. Now, in this episode, we've got someone from the world of gaming. It is the amazing content creator and video game streamer, Gab Smolders. Gab, thank you so much for joining us on Cat's Got Your Tongue.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
Thanks. And, we're so happy to have you here and find out a little bit more about, some of the work you've done with Cats Protection, and also, as well, find out more about your cat, more importantly.
Yeah, about BB.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're a huge cat lover, and as I kind of touched upon there, you have done a lot of work with Cats Protection. You've raised over £116,000, which is an amazing amount for Cats Protection.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Thanks to the fundraising streams that you've been part of. Now, I want to kind of really get into it and talk about, your cat, and we'll touch on the stuff you've done in terms of raising money and how that all works a little bit later on. So tell me about your cat. This is your opportunity just to explain exactly about BB.
Yeah, I have one cat called BB, and I found him almost 10 years ago now. He's turning 10 this year in Japan. As a little stray underfed kitten, the eyes all gunked up, and I thought he actually lost, so this is why he's called BB. I thought he lost an eye, and Metal Gear Solid 5 video game just came out, and there's a character in that game called Big Boss, who has an eye patch. So we called him Big Boss, which became BB eventually, and now he just goes by BB.
It's officially the first cat on the podcast we've had named after a Metal Gear Solid character.
Yeah.
So,
Big Boss.
I'm gonna sort of wager that it's probably going to be the only cat on this podcast that's going to be named after a Metal Gear Solid character.
I know.
Which I wouldn't expect anything less. Of course, the name has to be video game related.
It's a little embarrassing.
No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. So
Yeah.
obviously, you found him in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about his personality, like what he's like. I saw him very briefly before we started recording on the camera. He looks super cute.
Very cuddly, yeah. Very vocal. People who visit are always like, wow, he's so vocal. It's like he loves me a lot. And I'm like, sorry to burst your bubble, but he does that to everyone. Yeah, he's super vocal, super cuddly. Loves everyone. Like, he's the kind of cat that if people come in the door, he runs for them. He's not like shy or anything. He's just like, whoa, new people, wow.
Oh, that's so cool. It's great that. I mean, because there's so many cats with new people can be obviously quite standoffish, can't they, sometimes? And, obviously with cats in general, it's a real trust thing. But to have that confidence, it must be...
Yeah, I really lucked out.
Yeah, it must be good for you to see I think for me, I've got a rescue cat from Cats Protection. And I only got her, when did I get her? At the end of last year. So I've only had her just over 3 months after my other cat passed away at the end of last year. Then a couple of weeks, I had to get another one because I was missing having a cat around so much.
You get lonely.
Yeah, I know. And so even seeing the change in her from December 2024 to now, it's just been incredible within the space of 3 months. And I'm like, I've had a part in that of really sort of nurturing this cat. And,
yeah, to give them a trusting home.
Yeah, it's totally worth it. So, personality-wise, is there certain things that he likes to do? Has he got favourite toys? Has he got favourite hiding places in the house, that sort of thing?
He's a very lazy player. Whenever I try and entice him with a toy, he just lies down and he's like, yep, it was great. He's more fun watching me swing the thing back and forth than actually interacting with it.
Yeah, my cat's a little bit like that. I feel like I do more of the playing than she does. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I'm doing all the running around and she's just watching me, and then just every now and again the paw will just come out and I'm like, it's meant to be the way around. You're meant to...
Yeah, they'll do a swipe every now and then, lying down.
Yeah, my old cat used to do a thing where I'd use the fishing rod toy and she would just straight away just catch it on the first attempt and just keep it there, holding it down. I was like, well, that's the game over now.
I was not going to hand it over.
Yeah, that's the end of the game. It's over within 10 seconds. So I want to talk a little bit more about, the fundraising, the amazing work that you've done over the years for Cats Protection. As I mentioned before, you've raised over £116,000, which is just an absolutely awesome amount.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So thanks again for the amazing work that you've done for Cats Protection and your love of cats in general. Now, before we get into the kind of the streaming side of things, have cats always been a big part of your life, even before BB?
No, not at all. BB's my first cat.
And so did you stumble upon BB by accident almost, or was it
just literally found him on the road? Yeah.
And had you never really thought about owning a cat? Had you had cats growing up or anything like that? Or
no. My mom likes to joke because I was raised with dogs, so always had dogs in the house. But then there's 4 kids. I have three siblings, and we all went for cats.
Maybe you'd had the fill of dogs, there've been a lot of dogs growing up, so you're like, oh,
no, I love dogs too, but
yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So yeah, I think it's one of the, we touched upon this on this podcast numerous times, because I'm similar to you. I didn't have a cat until just nearly 5 years ago when I got my first rescue cat, and I'd never had a cat before. And I mean, look at me now. That's what they do to you, though, isn't it?
They I went with tigers. Yeah,
they just completely consume you, and I end up getting absolutely obsessed. So, in terms of raising the money, why is it important for you to do that? Why is Cats Protection important to you?
Since BB was a stray as well, and there's always the case. I always have said adopt, don't shop. I got approached for a Cats Protection charity stream, and then since BB is such an integral part of my channel as well, he always comes into the room and hangs out and stuff. People love him. I figured I probably have quite a cat lover audience, so I was like, let's do it. Let's do a charity stream for it, and then it went really well. And then I think it came up to be yeah, we're doing this every year, by the way. So I was like, I'm doing this every year then.
So, what kind of thing goes on? Is it different to the usual streams that you would do? Is it more sort of cat focused? Is there more sort of cat chat in there?
I tried to find some cat games in the early attempts, but I was like, well, I don't want to spend the whole stream just crying over this digital cat that I can't save. I was like, I kind of want to keep it lighthearted. And even the Cats Protection commercials, I can't watch them. I have to cry.
No.
So I was just like, let's keep it lighthearted. I would collect pictures of BB over the last couple of years or something, and then show them. And people could submit their pictures as well with the hashtag, so I could look at the hashtag and see all of the community's cats as well. That was really fun. There's some games where you can play a cat character, character select, and it's a cat one. I've done stuff like that where it's kind of a cat game. But mostly it's just talking to the audience and just hanging out and looking up Cats Protection videos, or just showing what the company's about and what they do. Yeah. In
terms of cat related games, I mean, I do a little bit of gaming. I'm not by any stretch of imaginations I play on the PlayStation 5 quite a bit, and when there's a game called Stray, which I imagine you'll be aware of, where you play a stray cat. And as soon as that came out, I was like, right, I'm getting it straight. I got it on the first day it came out and completed it. And like you say,
the opening, oh my God.
I know. That's the thing. So what I would recommend to anyone listening who maybe wants to get into gaming or get back into it, play Stray. Because if you love cats, you will love that game. It is
amazing game.
Yeah, it's a great game as well, to be fair, isn't it? It's even you think to yourself, I think, for a character in a game that doesn't speak necessarily. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And it's all, either it's dialogue, but it's kind of futuristic and it's set in and that sort of thing. But it's really realistic the way the cat moves as well.
Yeah, it's fun to look up the studio cat they use for the mocapping.
Yeah.
And you can really see that the cat in the game is modeled after their own cat, and it looks similar. And that's why they got it so right, because they really just spent a lot of time studying their own cat.
Yeah, because I remember there'd be times on that game if you just stay still, and the cat does things that cats do in real life. So they'll start grooming, they'll start cleaning themselves, all that. And I was spent so much time just watching the cat doing nothing. I was like, oh, then I was going, I've got a real cat here though next to me, but why am I so fascinated by this digital cat doing this on the screen? Yeah, so it's a great game. Any other games where there's like, you know, cats, even however tenuous they may be, Gab, I want to know about them because I'd love to play some of them.
Yeah, the one that instantly comes to mind is Little Kitty Big City. Have you tried that one?
No, I've never played that.
Oh, so cute. But it's just like a sandbox game, so it's like one map, one big map, and you can just go around and like paw at things. You can knock stuff over, you can like steal people's sandwiches, and it's just really, really fun.
Oh, I'll definitely have to check that one out. So I understand that you have visited one of the cat adoption centres for Cats Protection as well. I love going to those places. The one near me is just such a special place, and that's where I got my cat Cinnamon from last year. One of the adoption centres, I went and saw her, and she's a beautiful calico cat, and I'm just obsessed with her.
Nice coat.
So how did you find going to the adoption centre?
Yeah, it was great. It was really nice to get like a tangible like experience after raising money for them to see like this is what it's for. And I made a little vlog out of it as well. And it was nice to show people then who donated to the stream to be like, yeah, this is literally where it's going and how it's being used. It's nice to see it all in action.
They're amazing places, aren't they, as well? Like, you know, just to see the work, like you say, to actually see the work being done and the way that the cats are being cared for. And it's
so extensive, like all the medical care and like making sure the thing that impressed me as well is that they make sure that there are people there to pet the cats regularly to get like social time and stuff.
Yeah, I know. I just love the they have like almost like a traffic light system on when you go past each pen, and it says like, you know, they have like little notes on what they're like, and you know, like you know, loves food or whatever, and it's like, you know, will nip for strokes or whatever. And I'm just like, it's just like these little kind of write-ups about these beautiful little creatures. So I've been looking into being a pen sponsor at my local centre in Warrington. That's something which they offer at the centre near me.
I was just thinking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know much about the pen sponsor.
Yeah, I do too myself. And one of them was in the center I went to. So they were like, this is your space. And I was like, oh.
So they have cameras set up as well.
Oh, I haven't actually tried that, no.
Yeah, so you can actually see the pen that you're sponsoring. And I was chatting to some of the guys that work on that team at Cats Protection recently, and they were saying like, you know, some of the cats, it's almost like they know that they're in one of these pens with a camera because they're really showboating in front of the cameras and like, you know, probably really putting on a show like for people. I'm like, yeah, that's cats for you. So yeah, obviously again, that's another way that people can get involved in terms of sponsoring pens, you know, because again, why was that something in particular that you wanted to do? Was that something that was important to you? Was that something which you maybe kind of, after you saw firsthand at the adoption centre, you're like, right, I want to get involved?
No, it was, well, so the reasoning is that I want more cats, but my partner has an allergy, a cat allergy. So when I moved in with him, it was kind of like rough going at first. Now he's a bit more used to BB and his allergies are a little better. But yeah, another cat is just not in the books. And if it were up to me, I would have like 5 cats by now. So as a way to kind of indirectly own more cats, I wanted to sponsor pens.
Yeah. So you're basically doing everything else that you can do to feel like you're getting more cats in your life. I love that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we'll sponsor pens. We'll play more games with cats in. Yeah. Watch more cat videos.
Yeah.
I'm the same. So, like in terms of your sort of relationship with your cat, you know, what's the dynamic like between you and BB? Is it like do you have? Because I'm the world's worst. Like I'm not. I'm just really like when I'm around my cat, I feel like I'm a different person. Like I didn't realize I was like this until like a third party comes into the house. So like if my friends come round, they're like, Adam, why are you doing that voice in front of your cat? I'm like, what do you mean? You know, and I'm like,
I get like really sweet, over to a BB. It'd be like, hey, little guy. Yeah.
So do you have other nicknames for him or anything like that?
Oh, so many. He has a little yellow sweater on right now because he has a glucose monitor on his back, so he has like a little sweater to make sure he doesn't bite it off. And the sweater's yellow, so this week he's called Banana Man. And basically it changes every little week. Sean, my partner, likes to call him Bingus for no reason.
There's absolutely no, sort of reasoning behind any of the nicknames we give our cats. Like, it's the worst as well when someone asks you and you think, oh my God, I've got to tell people what the names that I call my cat here. But the good thing is, on this podcast, it's the perfect place to actually kind of share it, because people that listen to this, and then myself included, we totally get that. Do you know what I mean? Like, we completely understand it. So do you have like a different voice that you adopt suddenly when you, because I find myself when I talk to my cat, my voice is entirely different to the way I'm speaking to you.
Yeah, I definitely turn like honey sweet. Like, I'm just like, hey, little guy, let's go downstairs. Do you want some food?
that's pretty much what I'm like with my cat, honestly. I can come back into the house and, it's been a stressful day or whatever, and then suddenly I'm just turned into this. I just melt as soon as I see my cat, and I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, in front of my, I've done it before when like friends have come round and they're like, they look at me, and go, Adam, like, he's like,
this is a different side of you, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you've just heard me speak to my cat in my cat voice, haven't you? Yeah. But yeah, listen, if cat owners, we all do it. So what do you think the best thing about owning a cat is? I know it's quite a deep question, that, and everyone's got a different kind of perspective on this, but what, if you had to try and narrow it down, what do you reckon it is?
I think it's the snuggles, isn't it? When they're just like, you know what? I want to be on your lap. And like, please pet me.
When you get chosen by a cat, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And BB is really like a mama's boy. He's just like following me around the house, being like, what you doing now?
Yeah. Oh, that's the best, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but like, if you're sat like in your house with somebody, maybe like your partner or someone else, and your cat like will go over them to come and choose you. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't know why, but I always find it a bit like, yeah, I am the chosen one.
You know that like loving stare that a cat can do, where just kind of they're just looking you in the eye and like blinking, and it's like so sweet.
Yeah, I know. At that point, you think, I honestly look at my cat sometimes and think, if you could speak now and ask me for anything, I'd sign my house over to you. Like, do you know what I mean? I'd give you any money that I've got. Like, it's all yours if you ask me for it now.
Yeah.
So we're in just a minute. We're going to speak to Nicky, who's our cat's protection behaviourist. So if you've got any questions, maybe about BB or cats in general, then Nicky is the person to answer those questions. So we'll be back in just a second, Gab. You're going to stick around and we'll speak to Nicky as well in just a second on Cat's Got Your Tongue. Right, so as you know, I don't know everything about cats, far from it. I'm always willing to learn and willing to pick up more tips and hints about being the ultimate cat owner. So today, as always, we're joined by someone who does know a lot more than me. It's friend to the podcast, Nicky Trevorrow, cat's protection behaviourist. Nicky, hello, how are you?
Hello, good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. It's good to see you and good to hear from you as always. And there's always questions that I can ask of you. You're like, a world of wisdom when it comes to cat knowledge. So, hopefully you'll have some more advice to share today. And obviously we've got Gab as well with us.
Hi.
Nicky, Gab has done a massive amount of fundraising for cats protection, obviously keen on cat welfare as a result of it.
Which is amazing. We're so appreciative.
Gab, you've mentioned it obviously briefly that, BB, your cat, has some kind of health kind of issues and some health concerns. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about, BB's condition?
So he has IBS and diabetes and some allergy, but we couldn't pinpoint what allergy it was. We thought it was it's me and the vet. We thought it was like a food allergy maybe, and that would result in the IBS. But we tried like elimination diets and nothing changed. So the vet was like, it's probably an environmental thing. And then it's like, what are you going to do? So I actually found in the end that probiotics for pets are amazing. And it basically fixed all of his IBS issues. So now it's just the diabetes still going, taking it day by day.
So how common is that for cats, Nicky?
So diabetes is actually pretty common condition for cats. It's more common in overweight cats, for example, so they're 4 times more likely to get it. And it's also more common in older cats, so by that we mean sort of over the age of 7, and male cats as well. So it's certainly one of those things that vets will regularly look out for, and that's why we recommend when taking the cats regularly, particularly when they get older, to the vets for blood tests, routine blood tests and urine tests, just to take the state of the kidneys and everything else. And it's liver, kidneys, hypothyroidism, and a bit of a one-stop shop. But also, they'll check the glucose levels and things like that, and look for conditions such as diabetes.
So, how does BB kind of respond, Gab? Does it affect him in terms of like his personality, or is he kind of dealing with it okay?
It was, so he got really sick one time. He had to be hospitalized for 4 days because he had a fever and then refused to eat. So with the diabetes and insulin, it's like, oh God, how are you going to manage that? And then it turned out that he had a bowel inflammation, and that's what caused the fever. So that was definitely a rough start. That was like within a couple months that he got diagnosed. So I wasn't really as good at it as I am now. And we had a really hard time in the beginning because you need to prick their ears for a drop of blood. And I just couldn't find the vein properly, or his ears were too cold, and it was so stressful for both of us that when he got sick, the vet who was taking care of him was like, oh yeah, we just gave him a glucose monitor. And I was like, I should have had one from the beginning. It's so much easier. You just pop a thing on his back and you just scan it with your phone. And I just get every minute I get a glucose reading. So now I can keep a much better eye on him, and it's very stress-free for him as well.
That's amazing.
I imagine, Nicky, for it, maybe there's someone listening now who's just kind of found that their cat might have, a condition like that, and I imagine it's quite daunting, even with my my cat that passed away last year. When it found out she had hypothyroidism, I sent you a text, Nicky, and I was like, oh my God, like, wow, what's going on? What's going to happen? It can be quite daunting when it's something that's quite unknown as a cat owner. So, like, how is it best for the owner to deal with it? I mean, obviously, I know the cat's the main priority, and we can get medication, and we can get vet advice. But what about the sort of the mental impact that it might have on an owner? Is anything that how do we not panic about it? I suppose what's the best way that people can respond?
And I totally understand what you're saying. And I think loads of people listening will really identify with that panic of like having a cat diagnosed with anything, to be honest. And it is that fear of the unknown. So I think because of that, therefore knowledge is power. and I would say utilise the whole practice staff, so not just the vets, but also the nursing staff as well. Sometimes they might have more time to be able to go through all the questions, obviously referring back to the vet as necessary, depending on the question. But they can really help with that emotional support side of things, of having a newly diagnosed pet. And also just from the practical perspective, when I was a nurse in practice, we would regularly help people learn how to inject if that was what was necessary for their individual pet. Obviously treatments vary even for diabetes across for every cat's an individual, but help get them really gradually used to giving injections, because that I think tends to be the biggest hurdle for people when they get a pet with diagnosed with diabetes, and the thing that they're worried about. So it's really rewarding as a nurse to be able to support someone through that journey and have them sort of come out the other side a bit more confident and able to give injections. And so, always happy to support. So I think I'd say to people, no matter how small the question or how they're feeling, always just reach out and get that support. And it just makes the whole thing a lot less scary. And also there'll be support groups and things like that. I think that's one of the beauties of things online. If you get a nice sensible group, just to find other people that are perhaps in the same boat, and mixing with those that are more experienced, and just to provide that reassurance, and so they don't feel quite so alone, because I think that's another aspect of it, isn't it, that people sort of struggle with, of thinking oh God, now what do I do, and is it going to be okay? So whilst these groups obviously wouldn't be giving out medical advice, it's that sort of community spirit and knowing that they're not alone.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, I know hypothyroidism is I didn't know at the time, but it is quite a common thing for older cats. And when I found out I had that initial panic, and it was like, oh, right, she needs to be on medication. I was like, oh my God, this is like, your mind just goes to the worst case scenario. And then when I did a little bit more kind of research around it, and I looked online, and so many people on forums and stuff had said like, oh yeah, my cat's been on this medication for years, or, and you wouldn't even know. There's no difference to the way that my cat lives. It's lived for an extra, however many years. And suddenly when you start rationalizing it, it doesn't seem as bad, does it? You know what I mean? Gab, in terms of, BB, does that affect his diet and that sort of thing? Is there extra kind of care that needs to be taken in that sense?
Yeah, we had a lot of issue with this IBS as well, trying to find the right food for him that's also low in carbs for the diabetes, and tried so many different brands. But yeah, we did settle now on something. And yeah, I just kind of like hope for the best, because it is quite scary when suddenly he's like, you know what? I don't like this food anymore. And it's like, my options are limited here. Like, what are you going to eat? But yeah, I think I found like a nice one for him now, a Purina, like a pate that's diabetic. So it's like, it's definitely, and it like Nicky said, online there's so many communities of people whose pets are sick, and there's definitely a lot of forums out there where people recommend diabetic brands, or not officially diabetic, but it's like all protein, so it's passable. There's so many online forums and databases you can access. It's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, if someone has gone to that stage where maybe their cat is in the early stage of diabetes or that kind of thing, Gab, what would you say to someone who maybe is kind of panicking a little bit initially, or struggling, or just assuming the worst? How have you found it? How long has BB had diabetes for?
I think just like a year and a half now. And the first year was definitely rough, and it was also like having an online community of my own as well. A lot of people in it were saying like, my cat has diabetes, and the first year is pretty rough, but it'll be okay, and that does help. So I kind of like repeated the same, and I talked about the symptoms of BB that led to his diagnosis as well, and that led to many people taking their cat to the vet and being like, my cat had diabetes too.
That's amazing.
It's really nice to see like people exchanging information and it like helping out the cats. Yeah,
that's great as well, to be able to use that platform to make people aware of some of the early signs, or even if they go, oh, actually, I might just take my cat to the vet, just to get a checkup or whatever, just because that's sometimes I think some cat owners, myself included, at times, and sometimes you go, you don't take your cat to the vet until it's too late. Sometimes, you think it's nice to actually go every couple of months if you can, and just get a checkup just for your own peace of mind.
The older they get,
and that's, and that's something, Nicky, which I wasn't really. I know it sounds ridiculous, like I wasn't aware that I should be doing that. I used to always think that I'll take my cat to the vet if my cat's not well. And sometimes, actually, there's so many things that have been going on with your cat that you're not aware of, because they hide things so well as well, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. And it's really hard because they hide stress, they hide pain, they hide absolutely everything. And it comes back to the sort of evolutionary history of being like a sort of solitary survivor. They don't sort of like make a big deal out of anything. I have to say, dogs are complete opposite, particularly in vet practice.
Yeah, I was about to say, total opposite of me anyway, slight headache. I'm like, I'm so ill, I'm not well. The cat's like, come on, mate, seriously.
Exactly. Whereas the cats are just like, there's nothing to see here. So, so it can be really challenging. But as you said earlier, like, the earlier you get them to the vets, the earlier you get things diagnosed, the better it's going to be, and the more treatment options there are available as well.
Gab, is there any questions, that you might have for Nicky about cats in general, or about BB, or is anything that's always kind of baffled you about cats, or like you say, anything you want to kind of...
Yeah, the one thing that I wasn't prepared for, and he didn't do it all his life, he started doing it in like the last couple years, is that little happy dance that cats do when they get in the kitchen, when like their tail like starts like quivering, and then their back legs are like he's like doing a little dance, and it's so cute. And he started doing that. He's not almost 10 now, so he started doing it when he was like 8. And I was just like, oh, you're doing it. So what is it exactly?
So there's a couple of different meanings depending on what they do. So for example, if he does it when like you first see him, or like you say in the kitchen, maybe prior to being fed, then like it is a happy dance, or like if you first see them, it's a greeting behavior. Whereas if they are like, you can see them backing up to an object, and they do the pedaling with the back legs and the quivery tail, that's more what we call pseudo spraying, which is thankfully not real spraying, but it acts as the same function as a spray in terms of like marking an area, and it can have different messages to the cat as to whether they need to be aware in that circumstance, whether there's something they're a bit anxious about. But if they're not backing up to objects, it's more the context of like something positive than it's a happy dance.
His happy dance is by the food cabinet.
Oh, there we go then. So it's the happy dance of joy for food. And then do you notice like the base of the tail tends to like fluff out a little bit as well?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He has a big tail, and it just like spreads out, and he's like.
Yeah. So I think that's just like a sign of excitement, and they're sort of high arousal. They're excited.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I went out for a meal on a weekend, and I felt like I should have done a happy dance. I was so excited about getting the food, to be fair. We've all been there.
We have.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of questions which I want to put to you, Nicky. And also, again, Gab, feel free to chip in on these if there's anything you want to say. A question from Hazel that's been sent in to us about her cat Cora says, why do cats chatter at birds through the window? I've seen loads of these videos. Loads of the videos on TikTok. They're unbelievable. She makes the cutest noises when she sees something outside that she wants, but surely this can't be instinct, as her chatter would make the birds aware of the cat's presence and more likely to fly away. So what's the reason behind the chattering? Is it meant to be scary? That's a very good point, that, because I always think if the cat was outside and started making that noise, the bird would go, well, see you later, I'm going, I can hear you. And it's dead cute. It doesn't seem intimidating.
I mean, it definitely is really cute. Chattering is actually the correct word for it as well, by the way, because I know there's lots of terminology out there, but that's certainly what, scientists would call it, chattering as well. So it's that kind of like, just in case anyone happens to not know what we're talking about, it's that kind of like, at the minute, individual variation of it applies. But no, but so the cats do it obviously when they see birds and other prey. They do actually do it outside as well. So there's different views out there. My own personal view is I think it's a sign of like high arousal or excitement. Basically, they're just so excited it all takes over. But I appreciate it does, the birds would notice and just fly away. But I think they're kind of just literally in the zone, and it's happening without conscious thought. They're just doing it. But some people will say, like you'll see it in the book saying about barrier frustration, because they're frustrated they can't get to the birds, but because I've seen them doing it outside when they could have caught the birds. So that's why I think it's more kind of how they feel.
Yeah, I love it. I can watch videos of that all day, just literally. And to be honest, my algorithm now just throw up so many of those videos. I'm just like, my algorithm on like TikTok and Instagram Reels is just completely dominated with cats now. I think that's the rest of my, even if I didn't want it to be, there's no way back. Like I couldn't make it stop throwing me up cat content, which I'm not complaining about. So do you know what? We're just about done. Actually, we're gonna wrap up. It's been great having you on today. Thanks so much, Gab, for speaking to us. And again, thank you so much for all the work you've done raising money for Cat's Protection. What's coming up for you? Have you got some more plans for 2025?
Oh God, no, not really. So I don't really have a cat sitter anymore, because BB is he's so irregular with this thing that most people don't. After a couple of sitting, they're like, maybe not. So I haven't traveled in a long time. So actually, no, I have no plans. Just another cat charity stream, maybe by the end of the year.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be amazing. That'd be so good. But again, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for all the work you do for Cat's Protection. We really do appreciate it. And it's been great to find out more about yourself and more about BB, of course.
Yeah. He's actually meowing at the door. I think he's very upset that he's not allowed in at the moment.
We'll let you go and spend some time with BB, because he don't want him to get distressed. So you go and spend some more time with him. Thanks a lot, Gab. It's been great to speak to you and catch up with you on Cat's Cut Your Tongue.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks so much.
Brilliant. And thanks, Nicky, as always, for joining us.
Fab, thanks.
So that is just about it for this time. Cat's Cut Your Tongue is made in association with the charity Cat's Protection. Thanks for listening, as always. And remember to hit subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts, or you can watch us on YouTube as well. Don't forget, if you've got any questions or anything you want to share about your cat, or anything you've always wanted to know about cats, you can get in touch and you can be featured in a future episode. You can give us a shout on email by emailing pod@cats.org.uk, or you can leave us a voice note if you want on WhatsApp, 07824 551076. Don't forget to tell your friends with cats about us, because they will love this podcast, I promise you. You can share the podcast, give us a review, and we'll see you next time on Cat's Got Your Tongue.